Hey, Glenn, it's great to be with you.
Good to be with you. Now, tell me what is happening with the cut, cap, and balance in the Senate. What can people do to make this work and happen?
Well, they can call their senators and they can tell their senators this has to happen. We, the American people, are tired of our freedom, our liberty being destroyed as the government inexorably expands, as it does every time it's fueled by more deficit spending power. And the only way we're going to end this, the only way we're going to end this crisis is to pass a balanced budget amendment. So don't raise the debt limit without a balanced budget amendment. And the only way to do that is to tie it together with a Cut, Cap, and Balance Act.
They say 44% of our bills are not going to be paid if we don't pass this debt ceiling.
Yes, that's basically the case. Now, there are problems with doing that. Obviously, it would be disruptive to the economy, as the president points out. He has a point there. The problem that is often overlooked, however, is that the problem associated with raising it without the right conditions put in place is even worse, because that's a long-term problem and not just a short-term problem. Alan Greenspan said just a few months ago when I was with him on a panel on Meet the Press that economies can respond fairly quickly and favorably and recover well from an abrupt halt in government spending. And I don't mean to suggest that there wouldn't be significant problems with not raising the debt limit, but what I am suggesting is they pale in comparison to raising it yet again without anything in place, because we'll have our credit rating downgraded. And at that point, every government program, whether it's entitlements or defense, would be placed in jeopardy.
Mike, I mean, I've seen the press today, and they are working overtime. Even allies are working overtime to say this has no chance. It's not going to pass. It's not a plan. They're not even going to vote on it. Mitch McConnell is there ready with his compromise with President Obama. Make the case to the American people that this has to be done, and that most Americans are tired of calling the clowns in Washington. They're tired of it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make the case as to why it can pass and why it has to pass. First of all, they used the same argument when the Cut, Cap, and Balance Act, which I'm the sponsor of in the Senate, and I have 39 co-sponsors so far. Jason Chaffetz opened the bill in the House of Representatives just a few days ago, and everyone was telling him and everyone else in the House, oh, it can never pass the House. Well, guess what happened last night? It passed. It passed with bipartisan support. We had 5 Blue Dog Democrats vote with us last night. Now, the argument that says this can't pass the Senate is the same argument, essentially, is the one that was being made to say that it couldn't pass the House. People understand that they can't attack this plan on the merits because it's so good and because it's the only plan out there right now to address the debt limit issue. But they know they can't address the merits of it because they lose if they argue on the merits of it, meaning if they get to the substance of it, they know the American people overwhelmingly support a balanced budget amendment. Since they can't win that argument with the people, they have to be their own fortune tellers. They have to create their own self-fulfilling prophecies by saying over and over again, as if by a frequent repetition they can make it true. This can't pass. They're just dead wrong. And if it becomes true, if they create that self-fulfilling prophecy, our economy is in a lot of trouble because we're going to get downgraded. And once that happens, our debt problem becomes a much more expensive one.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. The downgrading doesn't necessarily mean it's exactly what happens to our credit cards at home. That if you're downgraded, if your credit score goes down and you have a lower credit score, it means that your credit card interest payments go up, which is exactly what will happen to us. Correct?
Yes, that is exactly right. And that's why I make this point in my book, The Freedom Agenda, that whether you're a liberal and you're most concerned about protecting entitlements, or you're a conservative and you're most concerned about protecting defense, regardless of where you fit on the ideological spectrum, you ought to be in favor of a balanced budget amendment, because with it, we can make it possible for us to maintain whatever is that we as a society, through our elected representatives, decide to maintain. We'll have to make some cuts, but they can be phased in a responsible manner.
Right. You can't when we lose our credit rating or they start to downgrade us, our interest payments go up, which means a much bigger portion of our budget goes to just paying the interest on the debt, and you're going to have to make draconian cuts then, because then you really will be in default. Then you're not making your principal payments.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're paying about $250 billion a year right now in interest. That is an enormous amount of money, and it benefits us not at all at the end of the day. But we have to make those payments based on our past deficit spending.
Okay.
But if we're downgraded, it won't be very long before we're paying close to $1 trillion a year in interest.
Think of that.
And at that point, every federal program gets rated very quickly.
The left seems to think that the president, I mean, I saw Bill Clinton come out and say, you know what, you go ahead and do that. If they don't want to raise the debt ceiling, that's fine. The president can do that. Can the president constitutionally go around Congress if there isn't a deal here? Can he just raise the debt ceiling?
Absolutely not, Glenn. And in fact, the irony of this is that the very same provision of the Constitution that Secretary Geithner has cited, which is Section 4 of the 14th Amendment, actually supports the exact opposite conclusion. It is stunning that he'd make this argument. So here's what Clause 1 of Section 4 of the 14th Amendment says, that the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law.
Are you one of the, hang on just a, hold it just a second. Are you one of these guys that has the pocket Constitution with them all the time?
Of course. I've got 2 copies with me at all the time.
Of course you do.
One in my suit coat pocket, and the other one is what I refer to as my sidearm, which is on my iPhone.
All right.
Authorized by law shall not be questioned. Now, what that means is that once those debts have been incurred, they shall not be questioned. We have to pay them. We have to maintain the interest payment on them. We have to eventually pay the principal on them when it comes due. But it has to be, as it says, authorized by law. Well, what does that mean? Who has the power to legislate? Congress. Who has the power to incur debt in the name of the United States?
Congress.
Well, Congress, according to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 2, that's Congress's power. So in order to be a debt, it has to be authorized by law. To be authorized by law, it has to be adopted by Congress. Secretary Geithner is 180 degrees dead wrong.
What is the one call that people should make? Should they call their home senator? Should they call a specific senator? Should they be asking for an up or down vote from Harry Reid? What should they be doing?
Well, they should most importantly call their home state senator. I think that's the call that tends to make the most difference, to do the most good. Call their home state senator, because almost no matter who their home state senator is, if it's somebody who already supports cut, cap, and balance, as 39 Republican senators already do, who have signed on as co-sponsors, it'll just give them more fuel for the fight, which everyone needs right now. If it's someone who doesn't yet support it, it'll help steer them in that direction. Tell your senators, tell your U.S. senators, both of them, that you will hold them accountable if they raise the debt limit without attaching a balanced budget amendment to it as a condition. And tell them that what happened in 2010 is just a prelude to what's going to happen in 2012, as the American people are coming to an understanding that their freedom is at risk every single time we raise the debt limit. And the only way to protect that is through a balanced budget amendment.
Mike, thank you very much.